Raj Mahal itself right behind us here tonight.
This is a post of the Northern Alliance. They frequently exchange gunfire over here.
अभी भी आप सुन सकते हैं मेरे पीछे गोलियों की आवाज चल रही है.
The Iranian city of Khorramshahr is right.
The task of breathing.
Almost one farmer is. People here have lost their loved ones. They've lost their homes.
This was its first destination.
I must humbly decline this post.
Runway virtually completely flooded.
NDTV brings you an exclusive insight.
We brought you the news first.
So that's the question we're asking you tonight on verdict in the Jessica retrial.
34 years of nuclear apartheid are finally over.
Yeah, it's going to be a wonderful opportunity for a lot of players.
A war on Mumbai has been declared.
You heard a big blast. There has been a grenade launcher.
Enough is enough.
This is a new phase, certainly, in Indo-US relations.
Minute by minute with the great pageant of Indian elections.
Is the BJP's victory pledge for elections?
It doesn't get bigger than this.
अन्ना बनना है ना, सिर्फ एक टोपी के नाम से अन्ना नहीं बनेगा.
There's one place where there's non-tabloid news, so that's great. You're the first news channel I go to when I need to have any information about what's going on, and I don't remember a time when I didn't watch NDTV actually.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Profit.
If it's advertising, marketing or branding that interests you, you're watching the right show. Welcome to All About Ads on NDTV Profit. This week, we're discussing something extremely relevant, political advertising. But we're focusing on high spends versus effective communication, and not necessarily are those two connected. But before we speak to the panelists, have a look at this story by Sumita Karimi.
Gujarat Chief Minister Narendra Modi addressing college students in Pune recently. Modi, who already has a strong presence on social media, earlier addressed people on Google Hangout. The BJP's Yuva Party too has its own YouTube channel. The Samajwadi Party, besides having a social media presence, also has a series of videos called Ummeed on their YouTube channel.
इनके पिताजी बाहर काम करते हैं. अगर यही रोजगार मिल जाता तो उनको कहीं जाना नहीं पड़ता.
समाजवादी पार्टी यूपी में नौकरियों के नए अवसर पैदा करेगी.
The Bahujan Samaj Party has Facebook plugins that let people comment and share it on their website while also providing blog links. The recently formed Aam Aadmi Party, headed by Arvind Kejriwal, has its own YouTube channel with over 500 videos addressing current issues. Activities like these have reportedly prompted the Congress Party to up their social media spends by 125 crore rupees.
Social media in today's age, in today's digital world, is of significant importance because it addresses a community that sways and creates influence for others, right? Especially in the metros and the urban areas.
भारत सरकार की नीतियों के तहत दिल्ली मेट्रो जैसी वर्ल्ड क्लास मेट्रो रेल सर्विस.
While parties have always invested big bucks on traditional mediums like TV and print, what's however going to become a game changer in this year's election is social. The Congress Party has swung into action on social media after hard-hitting attacks from the opposition and netizens during the Anna Hazare and Delhi rape case protests. The party now is conducting social media sensitization workshops for small towns. But amid all this, the important question is whether social media can be an accurate assessment of a party or a leader's popularity, especially when likes are being bought.
Somewhere this social media race that the political parties seem to have gotten into, I don't think that's entirely the right way to go about it. Unless it's used constructively, where they are having a dialogue with people, there's no point in having over a zillion Facebook likes if you're not having a constructive conversation with people.
Social media spends are over and above campaigns like Bharat Nirman, for which the government has reportedly got an additional 630 crore rupees, half of which will be spent by March 2014.
For a country of our size, it certainly requires a huge sum of money to be able to sway mindsets and votes and eventually sort of get people to vote either for or against or even switch sides.
In fact, if we were to look at overall advertising spends, according to industry estimates, states get around 15 to 20 crore rupees, while the national level political party spending is anywhere between 150 to 200 crore rupees. And the percentage spends are likely to increase by 15 to 20%. Despite the Election Commission specifying that a candidate can spend up to 25 lakh rupees on advertising, ad experts are skeptical about candidates or parties depending merely on advertising to win.
With one advertising campaign to think that okay they can influence everybody in their favor, I don't think is the right thing or is the right way to go about it.
जैसे ख्वाब की कलियां बता दे सबको लिखे हैं संदेशे आसमानों पे.
Moreover, on the issue of black money being passed on to ad agencies and kickbacks during political campaigns, ad professionals say big agency setups stay away from such transactions.
Because of the issues that go around with political advertising, namely sort of a lot of it in cash and therefore companies and a lot of them are mandated not to handle those businesses. The top 5 or 7 agencies in India are aligned to large holding groups that are listed on NASDAQ, listed on the London Stock Exchange. So they have very strict operating principles in which they work. And the way political advertising is handled, a lot of that transactions are in cash, which doesn't permit the big agencies to handle those businesses. So that's one of the reasons. Therefore, the smaller rung agencies are able to win those businesses.
With a buzz around state and the central government's overspending on ads, and now the Supreme Court asking the Election Commission to look into freebies, political parties across the board are looking at ways to capitalize on social media instead. Will it be a win based on effective communication versus large spends? We'll just have to wait and watch.
Political advertising has always existed in India, whether it's canvassing or distribution of pamphlets, even the distribution of freebies. Now, incidentally, the Supreme Court has asked the Election Commission to look into this aspect of freebies being distributed by political parties. But the question that we are seeking to ask today, political advertising, high spends versus effective communication. And joining us on this panel, Meenakshi Lekhi from the BJP, founding partner, Perfect Relations, Dilip Cherian, from the Aam Aadmi Party, spokesperson Dilip Pandey, and to give us an advertising perspective, Rajshekhar Malviya, who's with Promodome Communications. In the past, you've worked on political campaigns for the Akali Dal during the Punjab Assembly elections and also Omar Abdullah's ruling National Conference. During the program, let's talk about what, how, when and where. And when we talk about what, let me start with you, Dilip Pandey from the Aam Aadmi Party. Now, you have posters that claim rapes would continue in this city if the Congress was voted back to power in the Assembly elections which take place at the end of the year.
What we are trying to say with this message is that if you keep voting the corrupt people, you'll keep getting the same results. Vote honest people and you'll see the change.
Quick reaction on that.
I mean, I don't know if people would really make that connection. In advertising, there is the promise that you make and there is the support that you give in communication. Promise is there, but there is no support.
Dilip Cherian.
I think the technique that communicators sometimes use is shock them first and then suggest a solution. So I think the shock part works. Rapes will come down if you vote them out, and then suggest that just don't vote them out, vote us in. So in some senses, I think it's shock and awe.
I think every woman would want the city to be safer. Did you communicate that you would make it safer? I'm not so sure.
In word of advertising, I would say it's a teaser.
I want to ask two questions here specifically. One is this whole approach of negative advertising, where you target the other party.
You know, negative advertising is not new. One. Second, negative advertising is now permeating and is quite established, in fact, in corporate advertising. Okay, so clearly this means that marketers and communicators figured out that negative does work. Now, does it always work? Does it work in certain situations? And does it work unless you have a really exciting option? So sometimes a negative is a means of highlighting your positive. But that only works if your positive is obvious, your positive is robust, and your positive is something that the public is really thirsting for. We say, who are you targeting and what's your product? Unless you are very clear on both these things, then you can choose negative or positive. To my mind, it doesn't matter. In elections so far, and I've seen about several of them, I would say that there is a huge divorce, as it were, between what the leaders say and what the advertising says. And to my mind, they're hoping that the advertising is, in a sense, like our manifesto. I'm not sure whether that works, because what does the public hear? The public hears and sees what the leaders are saying. The advertising only works on you if you're still amenable to more suggestion, and you're looking for more inputs.
You have to have a clear brand proposition. Do you see political parties with that clear proposition being communicated effectively through advertising or whatever means?
Very little, honestly, because what happens is that there are too many interests. You know, when political advertising gets cleared, remember one thing, it gets cleared by a committee. It's like
Depends which party.
There's one man who takes the call. For example, I've worked with Omar Abdullah, he takes the call. When we handled Sukhbir Badal's election campaign, he didn't listen to anything. He said, show it to me.
If I'm sitting in the opposition, my idea, as you was talking about negative campaigning or positive campaignings, will be exactly the opposite. Because I would highlight that what happened to Augusta deal, what happened to solar scam. You call it negative, but according to me, that is the positive campaign, because end of the day, if I have to discuss corruption, I have to bring out all examples of corruption.
It's always not just the message or the content which should be very effective, but also the messenger. Like I recently saw a huge billboard on the road. It says, we'll bring down the electricity prices by 30% or 35%. This is a BJP campaign. You think people believe that?
If I have to start targeting credibility, I'll target the credibility of a person who has been in income tax department for past 20 years, never saw a single transfer out of Delhi. I will target that, because unless you're close to the political bosses, that is impossible. So when it comes to establishing a credibility, you may call it negative, but then I am on a turf and I have to find out what is the history of a person, what is the pretense of a person, what really is the ideology of a person. I would question all those things, because we are in a political arena.
See, what I have understood out of whatever little work that I've done in political advertising is that people are more interested in what you're going to do. You know, I go back to 84, that is the only time negative advertising worked. After Mrs. Gandhi's assassination, they released ads saying, will the country's border move to your doorstep?
It is not just what the ad agencies are saying, what the leaders are speaking also gets communicated.
Outside the advertising. Yeah.
Outside the advertising.
So one aspect is advertising is also about other communication, and effective communication that could be through spokespeople such as yours. Social media, let's quickly talk about that a little bit. We know that, and members of the BJP have effectively used social media. We know Aam Aadmi has generated a lot of support on social media. How effective do you think people have been in really using this platform?
Whenever you want to run something which is intrinsically negative, social media is fabulous. The mood of social media is always a level of distrust, of whistleblowing, because you're talking of individuals who want to throw stones at a bigger target. And that's the power of social media. Social media is owned by you. You create the media. If you have charisma, personality, then social media loves you. Social media will build up an individual. It very rarely can build up a concept or a full chain of thinking. It's 140 characters, most of it.
Perception is being managed by corporations. You can no longer choose to stay away.
The starting point is data analytics, knowing when does your audience come online. Whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on YouTube. Is it 6 in the evening or is it 8 in the evening? Then the messaging, then using negatives, then blocking negatives. Where corporations spend a lot of time and effort, and parties are not yet adept at doing this in some sense, is blocking the negatives. Noble leaders in various parties are putting together teams to manage social media. Why? Because they recognize that the elections of 2014 is going to have a larger youth component than any other election before. 2019 is going to be the defining vote as far as young voters are concerned.
Can you really assess the popularity of an individual or a political party based on social media? Because what they say on social media doesn't necessarily translate into voting, as we have seen in the past.
The voting is based on 3 things. We run campaigns for both parties, so we know exactly how it works. The starting point is get the voter out of the home first. Second, get her to have memory of your message. And third, get her to vote outside her traditional voting pattern. Because if they go by caste or community, then
you've lost.
The results are pretty much obvious, right? I mean, that's when, and then the fourth new emerging trend is get them to move out of their comfort zone as far as regional priorities are concerned. These are national elections. You got to make people think national, not parochial or not sub-regional.
Experts will talk about analytics, but is the political party actually looking at it as a platform that you can use to reach out to your voters?
I don't think that very well works for Indian society. You may not like what I'm going to say, but sometimes one has felt that mainstream media is not running the news it should run on a particular day. It is blocking. I would be interested in speaking about Rahman Khan's corruption. What will I do?
Well, I think
I'll go and tweet. Okay, I will put it as my Facebook status. So if there are 40,000 odd people, it gets circulated.
I think that's the very premise of social media, where you communicate whatever it is that you want to communicate directly.
Even if people are blocking, it will reach the constituency and it will reach K. Rahman Khan's constituency. We've seen how likes are bought. Now, I would say if likes are going to be bought from Kazakhstan or Istanbul, this is happening because of pressure. Now, if you expect that person to report every week. How many likes have you got on your Facebook and your Twitter?
Let's get a quick word from you, Dilip. You had a huge following on social media. Unfortunately, I'm not sure you've been able to tap into that.
If I'm not wrong, we set the benchmark when it comes to the proper usage of social media on ground. And when this movement was on its verge, on its peak, the Chanlokpal movement, we actually using Facebook, we actually mobilized people. So the question still remains unanswered, whether we will be able to make people vote when it comes to vote or not. That's unanswered. But for us, a Facebook account or a Twitter account is like a loudspeaker.
That's
like
very
when you were distributing pamphlets long back ago, you didn't know if you distributed 1 lakh pamphlets in a particular assembly, you didn't know how many is going to vote. So it's same. It's same. But yes, again, as it goes into advertising, same principle applies here. The message and the messenger, both are important if you're really serious about it.
So we are going to continue this conversation, but after this short break.
Smartphones have changed the world, but together you and I are going to change the world of smartphones. Yes, we'll be partners in building a smarter smartphone.
Come up with a unique idea and post it on www.ndtv.com/smartphone. Win a smartphone every week.
It's time to make a smarter world with a smarter smartphone.
Let's make a smarter smartphone on Cellguru, Saturday at 1 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. on NDTV Profit. Brought to you by Qualcomm Snapdragon processors, at the heart of devices you love.
Livelihoods rely on businesses. So in times of uncertainty, we help to keep trade flowing and keep industries running. Because of this, life can continue as usual. Standard Chartered, here for good.
झूठ नहीं रहे क्या? 1 रुपया फंस गया मेरा।
झूठ नहीं यार, 1 ही रुपया तो है।
अच्छा, चल तू दे। दे।
मनुष्य को गुस्सा क्यों आता है? ये क्या है? बाबा जी का वीडियो 1 ही रुपए का है।
देखो वीडियोस 1 रुपए में। 52010 पे कॉल करो, क्लिक करो, एंजॉय करो।
1 year of the best property advice.
Top class data to help you take your buy, sell, invest decisions.
Your 100% reliable guide to property.
I was looking for a villa in North Goa.
Very good decision to look at a second home in Goa.
The Property Show has completed a year on air.
I would like to congratulate you and your team for doing an outstanding job.
Your show is a wonderful show, helping countless people now making the decision on buying a house.
We have not been able to satisfy our valued customers, and I am conscious.
The extortion is really of the industry rather than by the industry.
The one and only real estate show of its kind on Indian television.
Supertech presents The Property Show, weeknights at 7 on NDTV Profit. The Property Show presented by Supertech, yours for life. In association with IndiaProperty.com, the best place to buy new property. And Realty Plus, India's leading real estate monthly magazine, now on stands.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Profit.
Welcome back. You're watching All About Ads on NDTV Profit, and we are talking about political advertising, high spends versus effective communication. When we are talking about the forthcoming assembly elections, when you're looking at the forthcoming Lok Sabha elections, when is the right time to make a big splash?
You cannot run a very long campaign in today's times. You need to build up through whatever other means that are available at your disposal, and then do a big splash just before the actual polling happens. Meenakshi would agree with this, that elections are won by wafer thin margins. There are last minute switches that happen, and those get you the seats. In the last Lok Sabha elections, there was Vinod Khanna who lost by 600 votes. There must have been a last minute swing. So if you expend yourself too much too early, you're gone.
You know why I've asked you that question also is that you had an India Shining campaign, which was a thought out huge splash. Many people attribute that working against the party.
You must understand, India Shining was not identical to Bharat Nirman. India Shining's purpose was to attract the FDI, and we did manage that. And the purpose of that campaign was completely different from the manner in which it is politically established. It was a Government of India campaign, not Bharatiya Janata Party's campaign, unlike what is happening in Bharat Nirman campaign. Unnecessary parallel is being drawn because the purpose of the campaign was completely different.
Is unnecessarily parallel being drawn to the large splash, which perhaps overhyped something that was not delivered at that time? What is your objective assessment on it?
My objective assessment of it is that it's got siloed into a particular fixated viewpoint. You can argue with the actual facts of what the logic was and what it was, but let me tell you one thing. Any campaign which extols the fact that people are feeling good is not going to win you elections unless you give them the promise that you will feel even better. This is a country which lives on consistently higher levels of hope. Because we are a young country, we are an aspiring country. We are not a country where everybody's needs have been even halfway met. We have, millions and millions of people in utter poverty. So it's always got to be about, I will give you more. You've got to understand what media you're using, who do you want to address, and where do you address them. So you have to be careful. To answer the big question that you asked, when should you campaign? The old school politician will tell you that people make up their mind who to vote for a month before elections. Some say 3 months, some say a month. The other question that he raised is that how many parties have the deep pockets to sustain a campaign which needs to last for a year or 8 months or 6 months or whatever it is. So you will inevitably have bursts, and technically media planners on campaigns, and he's probably a bigger expert than I am on this, planners say that do one burst, go into silence, do the next burst, and hope to God that you win.
We always draw the parallel between brands and political parties. What Mr. Narendra Modi has done is effectively brand himself, differentiate himself, package himself, and communicate well. The first thing being even within the party, then external.
Those who see the Modi campaign understand that it's gone through two versions. Modi version 1, Modi version 2. We've seen this. Before elections, post Diwali this year, you will see Modi version 3, which is the brand he will take into the elections.
The BJP having a clear proposition, other parties not so clear. Do you think that differentiation is key and that has been made? Do you think it's too late for now other parties to really get their act together?
Where I see a problem with Congress right now is that this was not the time to run a Bharat Nirman campaign. What it has done, therefore, is that it has armed BJP with a proposition that wasn't very strong before the Bharat Nirman campaign came. They've been targeting specific people, like he said, Mr. Modi. Every time that they're targeting him, they are adding more people in that group which is questioning the targeting of Modi.
So we are back to negative advertising again.
Yeah. Look at today's cinema. All your cinema is very happy. People do not want anything which is negative. People are saying, listen, tell me what you're going to do. Don't talk about the other people. And I need to know precisely how you are going to change my life. If you can't very quickly tell me, then sorry, let me look at somebody else. That's what is happening with products, and that's what is happening with political parties.
Let's hear the two of you and what advice you would have for political parties.
Okay, first of all, my experience with political leaders is that they possibly know much better than us. And their briefing, like in case of Omar Abdullah, he said, just get people out to vote and I'll win the elections. Keep it very straight, very simple. The voters are not interested in anything which is complex.
I would say I endorse completely what he's saying. Keep the message simple. Choose the best agency. Don't go for fancy footwork. The temptation to go for the most creative, most bizarre advertising is just dead. People want a straight message. They want it delivered very briefly and state the truth, because too many people today out there know the truth.
And when we are talking about high spends versus effective communication, clearly the two are not interlinked in any way, because you
Exactly.
can be effective communicator without those high spends.
Right. We have been drawing parallels between products and the political parties, and I would like to say that when you say something, don't just keep saying, right? Try to listen to what people actually want. And we keep doing this on a very consistent basis in our party.
When you communicate one simple thing over and over again, which has an impact. I think your political party was very well recognized for its anti-corruption movement.
Right.
Somewhere along the way,
we are still sticking to that.
No, but we see ads which are almost negative in communication.
So when you see 2 or 3 things extra added to it, it's because of the fact that we listen to people. But yes, of course, we also keep them telling that this is all because of the root cause is corruption.
When you talk about empanelment of agencies by political parties, what we usually talk about are huge kickbacks.
Not with political parties. My experience, not with political parties. Government, yes, maybe.
Not central government so much. Non-departmental, that is where there are officials taking the decisions, and where it's not the political bosses, because the political bosses
they'll rather take
far too much money elsewhere,
discount,
and they don't need anything. They just need to bring you
cut
down.
your price. Political parties are different from if you're in government. No political party can run 3 channels which are being run by the government and are doing work for Congress party, plus the 200 odd crore from PIB. All political parties put together in one bag can compete with that kind of advertising money. So I guess when you talk about cleanup of the system and so on and so forth, I think somewhere all this also needs to be brought forward, and a political person but not a government person. Her pictures are being pasted on every government advertisement cannot be permitted.
Well, I think this is an ongoing discussion, but the kinds of spends that we are looking at, and as we move closer towards the elections, we will of course see much more of political advertising. On that note, thank you very much for joining us on All About Ads.
Thank you.
Well, that's it on the show this week. Tell us what you think. Write to us at AAA@ndtv.com, or you can also get in touch with us directly on our Facebook page. From the entire team, see you next week.
The lines between online and offline are blurring every day.
You can't bring an idea to life without a great online platform.
In a world where 7 billion people are connected by the World Wide Web, we're looking for one person to come up with the next big online idea.
Tune into NDTV Profit's quest for the next big online idea. Presented by GoDaddy and Idea. Powered by .co. Secured by Quick Heal. Technology partner Dell. Saturday night at 8 on NDTV Profit. Presented by GoDaddy. Domains, websites and everything in between. And Idea. An idea can change your life. Powered by .co. .co is where your big online ideas belong. Secured by Quick Heal. Security simplified. Technology partner Dell Vostro Business PCs. Investor, incubator partner Indian Angel Network. Knowledge partner TIE. Lifestyle partner FHM. Media partner Small Enterprise Magazine. Online partner AFAX. Digital partner ndtv.com. Radio partner Radio City. FM Bole to Radio City 91.1 FM. And digital OOH TV partner OOH Media.
In the online business, one of the biggest virtues of entrepreneurs is to be nimble. So be very nimble, which means be very aware of what's happening, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of your competitors. Don't necessarily obsess about your competitors. As I tell my folks that make my trips, you don't need to obsess about them. But you need to be nimble, so if you need to tweak your model along the way, you need to change your model, even pivot to your model, I don't think there's any shame in that. It's far more important that you're relevant rather than you're fixated or stubborn about an idea and you don't change your idea even when the world around you or the market around you is changing.
Fly me to the moon, let me swim among the stars. You are what I see, all that I worship. Fly me.
North Eye, live closer to the moon.
Supertech, yours for life.
₹1 नहीं है मतलब? अरे मतलब छुट्टा नहीं है।
₹1 में क्या कर लेगा तू?
तुझे क्या प्रॉब्लम है? मेरे को मेरा ₹1 चाहिए। अच्छा 1 मिनट। करीना पसंद है बॉस। क्या? ये देखो। क्या है ये? वीडियो है। ₹1 में पूरा देखो।
देखो वीडियोस ₹1 में। 52010 पे कॉल करो, क्लिक करो, एंजॉय करो।
1, 2, 3, 4, 101, 102, nearly a million, almost a million, 1 million. Now we start the next million. 1.6 million. That's right. We received 1.6 million petitions during last year's Marks for Sports campaign. And we are just getting warmed up. Parents and principals, teachers and children, it's time for sports to become a part of Report Card. It's time to give our children grades for the games they play. Be a sport. Join the NDTV and Nirmal Mark for Sports campaign. On your marks, get set, score.
Marks for Sports, brought to you by Nirmal.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Profit.
Nokia breaks all records and image barriers with the all-new and very awesome Lumia 1020. Is this now the best camera phone in the world? Micromax paints the town red with its new Canvas 4. But is it the best phablet for your pocket? Technology at its simplest, a phone that is customized for the elderly. And we introduce you to portable chargers that can do much more in our Market Watch segment.
So lots of ground to cover on the show, but of course, we'll start off as always with mobile news. And the first one, Nokia making big waves in New York.
Nokia opened a new window to smartphone photography as it unveiled the new Lumia 1020 in New York. With this, Nokia has brought together the brilliance of a 41-megapixel camera, the magic of PureView technology and the power of 6 skull-sized lenses on a phone. The dual capture mode allows you to take pictures in a high resolution and simultaneously in a lesser 5MP resolution as well, so that it can be shared easily on social network. Just point and shoot a picture and you can edit it, reframe or even rezoom it later, creating multiple images of the same shot. With strong OIS or optical image stabilization, it is like a photographer's dream, enabling better low-light photography and even videos. Nokia also introduced the camera grip, a separate accessory that can add external battery and a tripod mount. With this phone, Nokia does bring in a wow factor. But let's not forget, this is not just a camera, but also a phone. So coming to the phone part of it, it has a 4.5-inch AMOLED screen running the latest Windows Phone 8. It is expected to hit USA on the 26th of July at a price of $300. Do not miss Selguru next week as we take you on an epic journey to New York and show you this optical wonder in flesh and blood.
And we'll start with our top story for today. This is the Micromax Canvas HD 4. Well, you know, for Micromax, Canvas is a sub-brand, just like for Samsung. The Galaxy is a sub-brand, both very strong, have a huge portfolio in it, and have made a big name. But this was a big hype, big noise phone, because this is the 4th generation of their Canvas series. Now, I have to say, lots of things in this phone that are very interesting, some a little gimmicky, and some that I thought would be elevated to a new status. I'm going to give you my first overall impression as I hold the phone. Very well made phone. Feels solid in the hand, has a slight weight, but just about the right amount of weight for you to think you bought a solid phone, not one of those fragile, flimsy ones. Good battery life, great screen, white at the back, but it has a nice texture, so not a boring white only. Front all white. What I don't like first straight away is that the 3 buttons are touch sensitive and are not on all the time, so sometimes you're actually hunting and pecking for those 3 control buttons. But then I'm going to come to the one thing that I did not think this phone would have, and that is an HD screen. We expected it to be a full HD, an FHD screen. It's Canvas 4. It's priced at about 16,000 to 17,000. We thought